Infinity Lighting is a permanent RGB lighting system solution for year-round enjoyment. Easily customize it for any special occasion like holidays, sports games, or parties. Plus, you can choose white lights for everyday use. As a professional contractor, you are well equipped to offer your customers a quick, thorough, and efficient installation. Let's show you how to get it done. First, you'll want to know what each of the components are and how they work within the system. First up is the network bridge. This is the controller or the brain of the entire system. You'll need to connect one of these to the Wi-Fi router inside the home to operate the system. Next is the wireless receiver. The receiver gets a low-frequency radio signal from the bridge, which then communicates the program sequences to the lights. The wireless receiver can receive a signal at distances up to half a mile. The power booster is used to make sure the lights have sufficient power to look their brightest and have consistent color. These are recommended to be used every 75 feet of lights. The power booster converts standard 110 volt power to the 5 volt power the lights run on. It is important to note that an outlet will be needed for every power booster. Outlets will not always perfectly line up with the location where a power booster will be necessary, so make a note that a lead of unlit wire may need to be run from the power booster to the injection point of the lights. It is best to keep this lead wire as short as possible. Next is the lights themselves. Infinity Lighting is a 5-volt system with strands that come in 50-foot increments with the light spaced every 9 inches. The light caps are placed over the lights to secure them in place, to protect them from the elements, and to blend them into the roofline for a discreet look during the day. Unlit wire also comes in 50-foot increments. The unlit wire is used for jumps like connecting different levels, or perhaps you're jumping from the main roofline to a gable. The data buffer is used as a connector that keeps the data signal strong for jumps that are 5 feet or longer. Layout tape is a handy way to ensure you drill the holes in the right spot. Simply lay it out on the gutter and drill through the target icons on the tape. Custom created channel is used for areas of the roofline where there are no pre-existing gutters. Y-splits are used to send the signal down 2 separate runs. An example of when you might run into this is if you need to continue down the roofline, but also need to jump up to a gable. Waterproof connectors are used when connecting the technology components to the system or when splicing or connecting the lighting wire. We also offer drill bits that are the precise size and material needed for drilling the exact size of light holes needed in the gutters. Additional tools and equipment you'll need are minimal, but be sure to have a ladder or two, a drill, a crimping tool, wire cutters or strippers, a heat gun or a small torch, a tape measure, and some electrical tape. If using the channel, remember to get screws and tin snips for mounting and cutting to custom lengths. To learn how to plan for and determine how much of each product you'll need for a specific job, check out our video on planning and quoting an Infinity Lighting installation. Now that we've covered the different components of the system and the tools you'll need, let's dive right into the installation process. From one Infinity Lighting professional to another, here are 3 tips to always follow to ensure a successful installation. Number 1, never cut any wires while the lights are powered on. Make sure all power is completely disconnected and not just turned off through the app. Number 2, always connect like wires. Power and data wires must line up properly. Ground to ground, data 1 to data 1, so on and so forth. The wires are labeled for easy identification. And number 3, keep the direction constant. Since data is running through the wires, this is essential. The lights are marked with arrows on the backside of each light to indicate the proper direction. Installing Infinity Lighting can usually be done in one day with only 1 to 2 crew members. No need for a large crew and lots of equipment. Always refer to the design sketch that was created in the planning and quoting phase when starting the installation. Begin at the starting point that was identified and work your way across the roofline. Doing this will help ensure that all the lights are run in the proper direction. The first component of installation is to install the lights in the gutter or channel. The layout tape makes locating the drilling locations for the holes a breeze. Simply stick the tape onto the gutter and roll it out, making sure that it's straight. Be sure the section of tape you are starting with begins with a target icon. Once the tape is laid out for each section, drill the holes right through the target icons on the tape. Once the holes are drilled, remove the tape. Now let's go over the specific installation process for installing Infinity Lighting in gutters. Infinity Lighting is designed to fit into the top attachment lip of gutters. Simply apply the layout tape along the front lip of the gutter and drill through the target icons to position the lights perfectly. It's a good idea to roll out as much tape as you can in each position to look for any obstacles or endpoints ahead, such as gutter hangers, gutter nails, corners, or transitions, so you can space the lights evenly. If lights will end up on an obstacle that you can't or shouldn't drill through, or if the last light ends in an awkward spot. If the gutters are attached with gutter hangers, you can generally move the clips without too much difficulty using a 1/4-inch hex bit whenever there is a conflict. However, when gutters are attached with gutter nails, you do not want to try to move it or install a light within an inch of a nail. In this case, you'll want to cheat the lights a little closer together. To cheat the lights, simply pinch in the 2 or 3 lights next to the light that must be moved. This way, each light is cheated just a little bit instead of one light spacing being completely off. We suggest cheating the lights no more than 1/2 inch to 1 inch closer. Do your best to keep lighting spacing consistent on corners. We suggest adjusting the length by 1 or 2 inches. Adjust the tape until the desired cheating is achieved, then continue on laying the tape with flat, regular spacing. Once the holes are drilled, position the light in the backside of the gutter lip, push the light through the hole, and screw on a light cap to hold it in place. Depending on the style of gutter, the return lip on the inside of the gutter may be too tight to fit the light into. In this scenario, take some smooth pliers or sheet metal seamers to pinch that lip to allow the light to fit. Use protection on the tool, like duct tape or electrical tape, to avoid scratching up the gutter. Be careful not to pull up and out while you pinch. Otherwise, you may end up with visible waves in the top lip of the gutter. One last tip: if you are drilling from on the roof versus standing on the ladder, the tape can be run along the top of the gutter to easily see where the bullseye lines up. Drill the holes through the front edge as normal. The second installation style we'll go over is installing Infinity Lighting with a channel. If gutters are not present or usable, or one simply prefers the channel approach, there are multiple mounting options available. When using channel at a peak, be sure to start the layout 4 inches down each side, as with the drip edge installation described above. It looks best to cut the top of the channels at an angle so that the 2 channels make a point. For the smoothest installation process, install one piece at a time. Start by putting the lights into the channel using the light caps to hold them in place. Leave out the last light in the channel piece. The next piece of channel will overlap with this light, so it works best to leave it out initially. Mount the channel with a screw every few feet. For the cleanest look, leave a small gap just wide enough for the screw to fit between the drip edge and the jutting out point of the channel, so the screws are hidden. We recommend 3 screws per channel, with 1 at each overlapping end and 1 in the middle. Once the first channel piece is up, insert the lights into the second piece of channel using the light caps to hold them in place. Skip the first hole and leave the last light out. Connect the 2 pieces of channel by overlapping the last hole of the first piece and the first hole of the second piece. Insert the light through this overlapped hole and secure into place using a light cap. Secure the second piece of channel to the building with a screw. Continue this process until all channel on the gable is in place. And here's a quick tip: be sure to cut the beginnings and endings of channel runs to match the angle of the eave for a professional look prior to going on the roof. The second component of the installation process that you'll master is making wire connections. These connections are made when connecting lighting wire to the power booster and wireless receiver, and when making jumps from section to section of the roofline. Follow these simple steps for a successful splice. Number 1. Cut wire strand to desired length, then separate the ends of the 4 individual wires from each other and strip the jackets of each wire 1/4 inch. Number 2, twist each end of the 4 wires so they are intertwined, then insert into their individual connectors. Number 3, with a crimping tool, crimp the connector onto the wire to secure into place. Number 4, repeat on each connecting wire, being careful to match like wires with like wires. Infinity lighting with infinity lighting, data 1 with data 1, data 2 with data 2, and ground with ground. Number 5, heat shrink the connector for a waterproof connection, being sure not to melt through the connectors or wire insulation. A handheld cooking torch works best for heat shrinking the connectors. Number 6, wrap with electrical tape once cool to the touch. Although the connectors are waterproof, this provides extra protection to the connection and helps the bright color blend into the roofline. Similar to making wire connections, you'll need to know how to terminate wire runs. Wherever you decide to terminate a run of light, it is very important to properly protect exposed wires. If exposed wires come in contact with water, touch against a piece of metal or other conductive material, this could cause a short in the lights, which will cause improper function and potential damage to the lights in the system. To properly end the run and protect against a short, first, snip the positive wire 1/2 inch shorter than the other wires. Then coat the wires with liquid electrical tape. The next step is to install the power boosters. Refer to the design sketch to see where and how many power boosters are needed for your job. Remember that unlike data, the power supply is not directional, so you can add a power supply at the beginning, middle, and wherever. Ideally, sockets in the eaves is the best place to plug in the power booster. If this is available, simply plug in the power booster after making the connections and mount it onto the roof under the eaves using the included Phillip head screws through the mounting holes on each end of the power booster. If an outlet is not available in the eaves, but it is in a place further away, like in a garage or the side of the house, you'll need to run a lead wire. To do this, plug the power booster into the outlet and securely mount it in a discreet, out-of-the-way location near the outlet. If you are at the beginning of the system of lights, make sure to connect the wireless receiver. From the receiver, connect unlit wire using a data buffer. Then run the wire to the starting point of the lights. If it is not the beginning of the system, simply connect the power booster to the injection point in the lights using unlit wire and waterproof connectors. Keep the lead as short as possible and hide the wire when able. Another important step of installation is understanding when to use data buffers. Every light in an Infinity lighting system receives the data signal, takes the information it needs, then sends the signal to the next light. While each light can send a reliable signal at short distances, a data buffer must be inserted before longer jumps of wire to send a strong signal. The data buffer takes the weak signal from the last light and sends out a strong signal up to 50 feet. As a rule of thumb, any section of unlit wire greater than 5 feet for a straight connection, or anytime a Y-split is needed, a data buffer must be installed before the jump. The data buffer is directional, so be sure to install it going the right direction, shown with an arrow on the back, just like the lights. Once you have the lights installed, section connections are made, and power boosters are installed, you are ready to pair and connect the technology components of the Infinity lighting system. We will start by setting up the network bridge and wireless receiver. Do not install any wireless receivers before first pairing them with the bridge. Have the customer download the Infinity Lighting app on their smartphone or tablet and create an Infinity Lighting account using their email and desired login. Once this is done, then the network bridge can be connected. First, connect the network bridge to the wireless router using the included Ethernet cord. Then plug in the micro USB power cable to light up the bridge. When the bridge is first plugged in, the Infinity Lighting wording on the front of the bridge will glow red until it boots up, at which point it will turn blue. This usually takes about a minute. If an update is needed, it could take as long as 10 minutes. Once the bridge glows blue, open the Infinity Lighting app and navigate to Menu, Settings, Bridge, and follow the instructions on the screen. With the bridge identified and connected, you now need to pair the wireless receivers. Please note that if you have more than one receiver, you can only pair one at a time. Be sure to have the receiver near the bridge to ensure a simple connection. Do not install the wireless receivers outside before pairing with the bridge. To put the wireless receiver in pairing mode, use wire nuts to temporarily connect it to a power booster. Matching like wires on the power out end of the booster and the wireless receiver power in end. Red is positive, black is ground. Plug the power booster into an outlet. Press the black button on the back of the bridge to put the bridge in pairing mode. It will remain in pairing mode for 2 minutes. Go into the Infinity Lighting app and navigate to Menu, Settings, Zones, and click the plus icon in the top right corner. Follow the instructions on the screen to sync and name the zones. Remember that one zone is created per wireless receiver used. Once you plug in the receiver, it will automatically go into pairing mode and search for the connection to the bridge. Now that you've paired the wireless receivers to the network bridge, you are ready to install them outside. The wireless receiver connects to a power supply on one end and directly to the lights on the other end. There are a few things to consider when choosing a location for the wireless receiver. 1. It is always best to install the wireless receiver on either end of the system run. Remember that all the data must be directional. If you install the wireless receiver in a central location with lights going out in multiple directions, any patterns and animations will not flow correctly as they will begin or end from that point. 2. Make sure the wireless receiver is installed in a relatively dry location as it is splash resistant but not entirely waterproof. Number 3. Ensure the wire connecting the lights to the wireless receiver has a drip loop to prevent water from running down the line and directly into the wireless receiver. Number 4. Make sure the receiver is connected directly to the power booster with 2 of the included pink waterproof connectors. If you are running a lead wire from the power to the lights, do not insert an additional wire between the power booster and wireless receiver. Otherwise, it will run the risk of not working properly. Instead, connect the wireless receiver directly to the power booster. Attach a data buffer to the output wires of the wireless receiver and run unlit wire to the start of the lights. If the length of wire between the wireless receiver and the first light is less than 5 feet, there's no need for a data buffer. For best results, do not exceed 50 feet of unlit wire. If a longer run is necessary, a second data buffer may be placed in the middle, although these instances will be rare. Now that everything's installed, it's time for my favorite part, turning on the lights. You can power up the lights and start playing with the different effects already built into the Infinity Lighting mobile app, or create your own patterns. Show your customer how to use the app and make sure they understand how to navigate. It's all part of the user experience. You may even want to ask them if they'd like to pre-schedule designs for holidays using the calendar feature. Once you've got the Infinity Lighting system set up, turned on, and turned over to the customer, make sure they have your contact information. Pack everything back in your truck, and you are on to the next Infinity Lighting installation.